Hello and welcome to episode 32 of Think Big with Michael Zellner. All positive, no politics. My guest today is Christopher John Dabaldo. Chris is the former guitarist for several bands, including Modern Immaturity, Blackbone, Raleigh, Egypt, and he is best known for his time with the band Saliva. Chris, welcome to the show.
What's up, Michael?
Doing all right, man? It's good to see you again. It's been a while.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing real good.
Awesome. It's great to have you on today. So, tell us
Thank you.
something interesting about yourself most people don't know.
I'm a stonemason. Um, I love working with stone. Obviously, I'm an artist. I love to do artistic things. Um, I think I think stone is something that I chose because it can't be manipulated,
Right.
like like plastics or wood or steel even. Um, but I'm a father. I'm a husband. Got a 17-year-old son now, fixing to be 18. He's fixing to join the Air Force, and we're real proud of him. And he's a hell of a musician as well,
That's awesome. So, the first
way
band,
better than me.
oh, really? He's that good? Because you
Yeah,
were good. You were
yeah.
really good.
Oh man, I just had fun. It's all about writing songs and getting that badass riff that people can't get out of their head.
So, your first band was, I believe, Modern Immaturity. Tell us a little bit about that band.
Yeah, Modern Immaturity was really, it was ahead of its time in a lot of ways. We were like 15, 16 years old. And, I had like long hair. We all had really, really long hair. And it's kind of like, I mean, I guess the best way to describe it would be shock rock,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um, we were kind of doing stuff like Marilyn Manson, did before he did it. We all idolized Kiss and Motley Crue, of course, and the other metal bands at the time. A lot of metal bands from Europe, Venom and um, God, Slayer. Obviously, they're not from Europe, but Slayer
Right.
and of course Metallica and stuff like that. But yeah, it was our high school band. We just wanted to shock the shit out of people, and we ended up doing it because we would sell out the Daisy. Where that's 1,100 seater,
Right.
uh, 12 or 13 if the fire marshal's not there.
Right.
But um, that was our high school band, and we would sell out those places every time we'd play. We'd always have we'd open for a lot of bands, a lot of national bands that would come into town, and local bands as well. And they'd always be like, "Yo, man, get your crowd to stick around, for the headliner, man. See, do us a favor and like, to get on the mic after y'all are done and just tell the crowd to stick around." And we're like,
Right.
okay, yeah, right, got it, dude. And we never would, of course, but
Right.
you gotta let people make up their own minds. So, the place would empty out when we got done playing. It was fun. It was, you go to school and you're like, dude, we just sold out the Daisy last night, man. They're like, what? Who? What's the Daisy? At that time, they had no idea, that we were like chasing our dreams that early. It was badass.
You were also part of the band Blackbone in the 90s. You guys released your first album in February of 95 called Homegrown, and y'all had a really good
Yeah.
following. What was so special about that band?
Um, man, pretty much everybody. I mean, chemistry is everything. I'm a big fan of chemistry. The band original lineup chemistry. Because no matter where you search and no matter how hard you look, you're not going to find that sound that the original people brought to the public.
Right.
Um, Blackbone, was Josie Scott on vocals, Rudy Forster, Trent Anderson on drums, Rudy Forster on guitar, um, and Brian Hall, otherwise known as Cheese, on bass. All great guys. Um, Trent was from up north. He's from Indiana. I believe Brian Hall was from Ohio, and then the rest of us were. We went to high school with Rudy Forster. You might remember.
Yeah, I do.
Um, and we all started playing guitar and had the same dreams at the same time. It was kind of interesting looking back, at our early high school days. And and Josie Scott was obviously the lead singer. He had massive, still does. He has massive presence and talent and just charisma and all that. And there was also, I replaced a guy named Shane Hutchison. I would be a dick if I didn't mention him, because he was the first, other guitar player in the band alongside Rudy. And I ended up replacing him. So I kind of fell into it, I got lucky, I guess.
You once said years ago that you were a complete sucker for Britney Spears. What was it about her that you felt that way at that time?
Britney Spears, man, those brown eyes. I mean, it is what it is,
Right.
I've never seen another set of brown eyes like hers, and it's just something. I don't know. They're just so deep and captivating that you look into her eyes, and it's like a lonely soul just crying out for love. The right love, not. Uh, we've all had our share of crappy boyfriends and girlfriends and all that stuff, but
Right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. She's just hardcore performer. Um, would work her butt off. Obviously, she's pretty, but just that was just that's just my type of girl, I guess. Something that I was particularly attracted to.
Saliva was formed in September of '96 here in Memphis, and within just a few months, you guys quickly recorded a demo tape, and out of 117 local bands, you were selected to perform at the second annual Grammy Showcase. National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. It was at the New Daisy, on Beale.
Yeah.
You guys were brand new, and you won. What was going through your minds when that happened?
A lot of prayers. uh, it was all, I think back, it was just like a dream come true. We were all just, we were just excited, and just, we all had high hopes. And Todd Poole was the drummer at that time. I got to give props to him, because he's the original drummer. Todd Poole was the original Saliva drummer, and we couldn't have made it there or probably anywhere else without him at that moment in time. Everybody has their time. Everybody deserves their light in the sun.
Right.
As far as acknowledgement, and that's something that I've always feel really strongly about. Todd's a great songwriter, but we were all just really excited. We probably, looking back, we probably didn't think anything was going to come of it. Probably certainly didn't expect to win all our showcases around the country, and end up going to New York. But we did. So we were excited. We just took it one show at a time, did our thing, tried to put asses in the seats and keep them there, and that was about it.
Y'all advanced to the regional showcase in Austin, Texas, and you won again. And then you went to the national finals, as you just mentioned, in New York City, and y'all came in second behind nationally behind the band Save Ferris. I mean, no offense to those guys. But I remember their music,
Sure.
and you guys had such a much better sound. I know y'all must have felt that way too.
Well, you have to look at trends and the times, really. And that was a small era. That was just a very small window of the ska movement. Remember that?
Yeah.
Got the reggae type of guitar track behind it. And who was No Doubt. Yeah, Gwen Stefani's No Doubt. You know,
Yeah.
they were the premier one who got through the gate. You know, 'cause there's only room for like one of those specialty kind of novelty type
Right.
sound bands. That's what I see them in anyway. So they got, you know, they got the big crown, but at that time there were so many ska bands trying to, you know, vie for recognition. And of course, you have the music industry who think they know everything.
Right.
God bless them, but they think well, not only do they think they know what the next big thing is, but they try to steer bands towards that. And that can be, you know, that could work, or it could blow up in their face. A lot of times it ends up blowing up, but you know, what do they care? It's not their money, right?
Right.
So you know, Say Ferris was one of those bands that was shooting for their day in the sun, for the ska movement, and God bless them for it. You know, um, it was strange in a way, but we were all totally stoked and happy that we got as far as we did. I think we made our point. I think we made our mark, you know, at least in the towns and the regional, you know, out of 12,000 bands, you know,
Right.
we made it down to three. So
Right.
it was us and two other bands in New York, and we battled it out there. We missed we narrowly missed a freaking random shooting on the top of the Empire State Building.
Wow.
Lord is my witness. The first time we ever go to the Empire State Building, we're up there for like 3 hours, right? At the very top. And me and Josie and some of the guys are up there walking around, and you know, everything was normal. And then Josie's prophetical mother, Barbara, lover, she goes, you know, I'm ready. It was real windy. Obviously, it's the top of the Empire State Building, so it's super windy and cold and whatnot.
Right.
And she goes, well, you know, I think I've seen enough. Um, I'm ready to go. So Josie grabs his mom, and we round up, and we go to leave the top of the building. And she goes, well, I got to use the restroom first. And Josie said, well, okay, you know, you can go over there, but they're unisex bathrooms. And she was like, unisex? Nah, I think I'll wait till I get to the bottom. You know, it takes a good 2 or 3 minutes to get down to the bottom.
Right.
And so we do that. We get in the elevator, start going down. And 2, 3 minutes later, we get out on the sidewalk of this amazing city and building. And, you know, there's CNN, Fox, all of them are there, like cameras and news media vans everywhere, sticking cameras and microphones in our face, going, what happened? What happened? What does the shooter look like? What does the shooter look like? We're like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? We can cuss, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Zellner?
Yes. Yes. You can cuss. Yeah. You're
Okay,
fine.
cool deal.
Yeah. You're fine.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, what, you know, what's going on up there? Did you see anybody? How many bodies? And we're like, what the hell are you talking about? We had no idea at all. And so we start looking around. You know, they've already taped off the building with crime scene tape, and so we're like, okay, whatever. And police, ambulances rolling up. It's a madhouse. Looked like 9/11 or something just happened up there. And so we make it back to our hotel like a block away, turn on the news, and turns out there was some random freaking shooter up there that just started popping people in the head,
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
and we had just freaking missed him. And all I know is he was walking around asking people if they're Egyptian or something like that. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm not saying, you know, either way,
Right.
but yeah. And also we started getting floods of phone calls to our cell phones asking, you know, from friends back home in Memphis asking if we were okay. And we're like, yeah, we're good. Why? Because news went out that some musicians were the whole city of Memphis knew that we were on top of that building because we
Right.
stayed in touch, you know, and we're like, oh crap, I can't believe we're going to see this, blah 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 blah. It's our first time. So people back home, fans and stuff, were happy for us, and all they hear is a musician named Chris and some band guys got murdered up there.
Oh my God.
So all these people are thinking, that we just made it all the way there, and then just to end up getting shot on the top of the Empire State Building. We're like, no, it's not us. We're fine. But yeah, some bands did. It was a foreign band, somebody from Sweden or something like that. And one of the guys was named Chris, and it's just a tragic coincidence, I guess. But yeah, that was something that I'll never forget. I dreamt about it 3 days before it happened. I had a particular dream. It wasn't to the letter of like a shooting or anything, but I did dream about being on top of a building and seeing a completely dark black shadow man zigzagging in between a bunch of people and touching certain people. And then all of a sudden, I dreamt about a telephone coming from the World Trade Center. No, that was 9/11 dream. Sorry, wrong story. But yeah, the dark shadow man thing. Yeah, that was the Empire State Building. I had a nightmare about that, and 3 days later that happened. But the 9/11 dream, I was up at the top of the World Trade Center towers, and it was weird. I know now the connection to it was nighttime, and me and some people were going to the top of the building, one of the towers, to open up a hatch to catch a plane, because the airport was up at the top of the building of the trade towers. And this is my dream, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Get up there. So there's the tie-in with the airplane and the airport and all that.
All right.
But then all of a sudden I'm walking out of the building holding an old rotary, like a phone from the 80s with the dial up or the button push, the plastic thing. And it's got like, I don't know, like a 1/4 mile long phone cord, and the cord's back in the building on one of the World Trade Centers. And I'm running across the street trying to get away from something that is going to fall on top of my head from that building. And there's just panic and this just ultra feeling of fear. And me and Josie were in Augusta, Maine when that happened, and we had just left.
That. Yeah, I remember that.
And of course, that dream was 3 days before that event as well. But we had just left New York, like that morning or the day before. I think it was maybe the day before. And me and him at the time were bunking, rooming in a hotel. And I remember he was in the shower, and it was like, I happened to be watching the news. I'm laying in my bed or whatever. He's in there taking a shower, getting ready for some press thing or something. And all of a sudden, we see the whole thing go down, and I'm like, dude, Josie. And he comes running out. Yeah, he's like a bear covered in suds, man. He's like covered in smoke. It's like, what, dude? Are you okay? You okay? And I'm like, dude, look. And he's like, what? Oh my God, So we were in Augusta, Maine, and which isn't that far from that whole scene anyway. It seems like we always just miss things, like God was always looking out for us and stuff like that. And
I don't believe in coincidence at all.
There is no coincidence, and the worst thing for me about that whole thing, besides the loss of lives and all that, I'm gonna try to keep it light, because I know this is an all good, no politics thing. But the thing that really got my attention was the fact that we had just click, boom. We had a Grammy nomination off our very first single, Your Disease. Get off of me, bug. And we had just released Click, Click, Boom. The first single went #2 with a bullet, right behind Stained with a bullet. So both of us had bullets. We're both going up still. They had the biggest song of the summer. So we're like doing battle with them. We couldn't go any higher. They couldn't go any higher. So we settled for #2 with a bullet for that first single, got a Grammy nod, like I said. And then we were really looking forward to, we knew Click, Click, Boom was going to be a big ass worker for us.
Right.
And we were pleasantly surprised from the first single, obviously, but we knew Click, Click, Boom was going to kick down the fucking door. and we had just released it. Man, we were getting ads. We had, you know, hundreds of ads a day from stations all over the planet and the United States. And then that 9/11 thing happened, and I knew. I mean, the title of the song is called "Click Click
Right.
Boom," and that was the beginning of the whole hypersensitivity of like Clear Channel and you know, all these radio, the FCC and all these radio gurus, and you know how they centralized everything and power under the power of one or two people. I knew right then and there, and I got so pissed. And then I got on the phone with business call management, and I just lost. We just lost like 50 ads in like 2 minutes, and it was only going to get. That was like the first 2 minutes of the whole ordeal. You
Right.
know, we were Clear Channel has put out a thing saying, you know, drop all these songs, let the bodies hit the floor by
Yeah,
Drowning
about Drowning
Pool was
Pool.
one of
Yep, I
them.
knew that. That was the other one. Yep.
Yeah, man, they even did that to the Beatles, and I mean, it was a whole big giant list of artists. So I'm not saying that they were picking on
Sure.
us or anybody, but it just, oh my God, the timing of it. I ended up throwing all the furniture from the hotel room off out the freaking patio into the parking lot. I was so pissed.
Wow.
I was so mad. I was like, dude, we just lost 60 stations in 2 minutes. Anyway, it was
Didn't
like,
MTV pull the video too?
I don't even
Yeah, I
fucking
think that if
remember.
I remember correctly, they did that in the Drowning Pool video, the other song you're talking about. Just remember, you know, I have a really good memory, so I remember that I think they pulled the videos.
I
Yeah.
love it. You got really good memories. You do. Yeah,
You know, the
proving that.
power of a moment, you talk about how Josie's telling his mom about the bathroom. And imagine
Yeah,
if he hadn't have said that to her and she would have just walked in the
right.
bathroom. And I mean, that could have been 5, 10 minutes that could have changed the whole course of everybody's life. So, like I said, no
Absolutely.
coincidences. So that
No,
that
I
was
don't.
meant to happen the way it happened, at least for you guys to be able to get out of there and be okay.
Yeah, I definitely believe it. I definitely come from the school of there are no coincidences. You
Yeah.
know.
You know, you guys ended up having a CD release party on August 15th, 1997 at the old Club 616, one of my favorite places. And then you officially released your first album on August 26th of 97 on Rocking Chair Records. And I remember Mark Yoshida because I used to have a bar at the time called The Library on the Highland Strip. And the Patrick Dodd band was also with him on Rocking Chair. And they were like the house band, them and a band called
Yeah.
Beanpole. How did you guys feel about the first music that you put out on that album?
Man, we felt, you know, it's like having a baby for your very first baby. You know, you're obviously your wife. You know, it's like you as a married couple or your girlfriend having your very first child. You know, it feels like that. Um, you want to put all your love and your passion and hopes and dreams into that one thing, that first record, that first child, whatever. You know, you're willing to do anything and everything to make that reach people. You know, um, it was raw. You know, we had only been together. That lineup had only been together like 6 weeks before we made and recorded that album.
Right.
Um, so what had happened was Josie, um, you know, after Blackbone, I took there was like a year between. It was like 1995, I think. So Blackbone broke up, I want to say, in 94. Saliva was born in 96. So that 95 year, I played with some local musicians, stuff that's like Slipknot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to keep my chops up. You got Head, Jonathan Simpson, Keith Joyce, um, and it was like IGM. You might remember
Yeah.
industrial ghetto metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
They used to be Ritual. They were formerly Ritual. So really, really ahead of its time stuff, you know. And that was a time period when Josie was courting Todd Poole and Wayne Swinney, who, you know, those two were always a package deal anyway. Wayne Swinney and Todd Poole. Um, Side note, you know, I was 15 years old, literally sneaking into the stage stop to take photos, to take pictures. I used to walk around with a camera all the time in high school. It's on the yearbook and the newspaper photographer and all that crap. But I used to sneak into Stage Stop to just sneak some pictures of Wayne Sweeney playing guitar, you know. And lo and behold, you know, so many years later, you end up playing in a band with them. It's quite an honor.
That is cool.
So they got together, and I think they did one show at the Daisy that I'm aware of. And after, I think I talked to Josie right before they started their set, and he said, "Hey man, we got a slot for you if you want it. You know, we're gonna be practicing tomorrow." But I said, "Well, let me watch the show. I'll be on the front row. Let me check it out, and I'll give you an answer, you know, right after the show." So obviously that happened, and you know, I liked what I saw, liked what I heard, loved it, of course, and told Josie after the show, "I'll put times rehearsal tomorrow. I'll be there," and the rest is history. So we were together for about 6 weeks before we did that Black album. It's known as the Black Album,
Right.
In our circles anyway. It's titled, so it's self-titled, you know, but the cover was black. And yeah, Mark Yoshida, rocking chair.
Yeah.
It was the right thing at the right time in the right place, man.
You know, a lot of the press made fun of the name Saliva from the start. You know, how did you guys feel
Yeah.
about that? How did it, I mean, I'm sure it had to motivate you guys to, you know, no pun intended, make them eat their words.
Yeah. You know, I never got that. You know, what's in a name? I know
Right.
a brand is everything,
Right.
and I get that, and a brand is everything. But what's in a name? I mean, you got Green Day, you've got um, Nashville Pussy, whatever, or whatever those, you know,
Right.
those chicks are called. Um, you know, you could go on and on about weird names, and they choose Saliva. I mean, it's, you know, we always like to say it's nature's lubricant. You know, you can't have sex without it in some ways. I mean, I'm sure you can, but you get my pun.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You know, Josie came up with that name, and it was in Blackbone when he did, and I'll never forget it. We were in the Blackbone van, pulling a trailer, probably haven't eaten in several days, literally, and you know, but we had weed. um, we always had that somehow, some way. But you know, we were playing for gas money in those days, and we were in somewhere in the middle of Wyoming. And Josie goes, "Man, dude, Chris, I thought of this name, and I just want to see what you think of it." And I love it. You know, just no pun intended, but it rolls off the tip of your tongue, you know. And and I was like, "Well, spit it. What is it?" He goes, "Saliva." And I said, "Dude, hold on to that. Yeah, that's good. Hold on to that. You're gonna keep that."
Yep.
And at the time when I joined, at the time I think they had chosen 13 vampires or something. And I came to him and I was like, "Dude, Josie, remember that?" Dude, "No, you got to do Saliva, bro." And he goes, "All right, cool." So he ended up calling it Saliva. So he came up with it. I remembered it and held him to it.
Awesome. It's amazing. You don't think that, but a name, how big of a difference it makes.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything, you know. It really is. You know, it's everything to a brand. It's everything to a logo. You know, it's everything. So we never really thought that much about it after the fact. You
Good.
know, it was like, I know people were like, "Ooh, Brad," I was like,
Right.
it's like that, you know, or whatever. And I don't know. You know, there's a band called Snot. No, you know, fuck. Yeah. But so yeah, we were like, cool, yeah, fuck it, you know.
You guys got signed by Island Records, and when you released the album Every 6 Seconds in 2001, things really started to happen. You talked about Click Click Boom and Your Disease. They got huge radio play for a while and brought you guys into mainstream popularity. You know, some people might remember that, you know, Superstar and Click Click Boom were both featured in the film The Fast and the Furious. and the real excitement begins. And this had to be just such a really amazing time for you guys.
Yeah, man, those songs. There was a lot of Saliva songs that were in a shit ton of videos, video games, movies. Um, at the time, I was handling a lot of that business, and I wanted to. I didn't want to accept everything, but I wanted to reach a certain group, certain audience, certain youth, and but not just all kids either.
Right.
Rock bands are always famous for saying, "Oh, we got to do it for the kids." Fuck that. That's true, but you have adults too that are your fans. And those people are going to grow with you, at least for the next. Hey, what's up, bro? I like your vet. And those people are going to grow with you at least for the next 5 or 10 years anyway.
Right.
Kids maybe longer, but those were some hard-working songs. Those were some big parts of our live show, and having fun and stuff like that. That leads me to another branch of the professional wrestling. That was something that I felt really, really super strongly about. I was always a wrestling fan, WWE and all the rest, and WWF at the time.
Right.
But then it switched over, as you know, it's WWE. And the McMahon family, great people. All the wrestlers, man. Oh my God, dude. If you're into that, or if you at least have a healthy appreciation or respect for what those guys do, what those companies do, then you would love to meet those wrestlers, because they are the most professional and cool and fan loving people in any kind of business you'll ever meet, and I mean that wholeheartedly. They'll kick your ass. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
They're not no pushover at all. They will fucking kick your ass if you fuck with them. But professional wise, they are the best, man. They were totally 100% professional, and I loved working with them. And as you might know, Saliva is still to this day the preeminent rock band for WWE. We've done the most songs, we've done the most work with them. Yeah, you can look it up. It's all out there. But yeah, in the beginning, I just remember, saying to the label and to the promo people, look, we really want, and Josie backed me up on this, and Wayne and the rest of the guys were like, yeah, we want to do that. Because I saw a market there, and I just went hand in hand with that type of music and that type of visual that they were putting out, and that attitude. So I was like, yeah, I really want y'all to reach out to WWE and let it be known that we want to work with them, and we're willing to do whatever we need to do. And we did, and they listened, and the rest is history. We've got quite a portfolio with them.
Yeah, the follow-up album. Go ahead. Sorry.
WrestleMania 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look up WrestleMania 18, and you'll see it's the whole fucking show.
The follow-up album, was released in 2002, Back Into Your System. Two of my favorite Saliva songs were on that album, Always and Rest in Pieces. Those songs were co-written by producer James Michael, who's worked with so many bands over his career, including Papa Roach, Trap, Sammy Hagar, Kelly Clarkson, Alanis Morissette, and so many more. And then also by Nikki Sixx of Motley Crue. What was it like to work with those guys?
Oh man, Nikki. I idolize Nikki. It's anybody who knows me knows it's no secret, but in high school and my 20s, 30s, and 40s, and hell, I'm 52 now. Always idolized Nikki. I've never met Michael, but I do know he's an amazing songwriter.
Right.
I do know that. I don't think I've ever met him though. But working with Nikki on that video shoot, it's so strange to meet your idols. In this case, it was good. I know a lot of people have questionable or bad memories meeting or hanging out with their idols for a variety of reasons. But with Nikki, it was cool because, you know, in a lot of ways, he was connected to us. He was in our hearts, you know, obviously from the Motley Crue, and I mean, I knew everything about Nikki Sixx. I knew his birthday. I knew what name he goes under, what surname he uses when he checks into hotels, and just all that kind of shit. Because when I was 16, my girlfriend was like 26, 27 years old, and she was a Motley Crue groupie. So I mean, a literal, like, she would travel with him and shit and go meet him and stuff and fuck him and all that stuff, you know. I'm like, hell yeah, cool. You know, my girlfriend sucked Tommy Lee's dick last week, man. But yeah, no, she was, God rest her soul. But yeah, she spent a lot of time with him, and you know, I benefited from little bits of information here and there.
Right.
So I felt like I know them in more than one way. But yeah, Nicky's real quiet. He was laid back. You know, he's sober. And you know, that was another side channel that he always could help the band out if we ever got into some quicksand or something like that on the chemical scene. But he was always there to help. Big help. Honor.
That had to be. Man, he's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't get to spend as much time with him as Josie did. You know, but what little time I did spend with him, you know, what do you say? You know, it's Nikki fucking Sixx, man.
Right.
You know, am I gonna walk up to him and go, dude, I had you plastered all over my walls when, you know, the first 20 years of my life, you know, he hears that every day.
Right.
He hears it every hour probably. So all you can do is say thank you and love your work, and damn, dude, you're Nikki Sixx.
Right.
That's all you can say, you know. That's all I can say anyway. Fuck.
You know, in 2003, Saliva went on a world tour with two legendary bands, Kiss and Aerosmith. I mean, freaking awesome. Tell us a little bit about the tour.
Man, that was a dream come true. Yeah, that was a dream. You know, working with Nikki Sixx, releasing your first album, having a #1 hit single in all 3 rock formats. Congratulations to Zach Myers and Shinedown, by the way, on their #1. But yeah, you know, that tour, that possibility came across, I guess, my desk, so to speak, our desk. And you know, the band was all for it, but you know, with like the business people and stuff, they were kind of torn a little bit here. You know, business wise, you have to look at that, and they're like, well, you're not, you know, they're going to pay you, but you're not going to make the kind of money that you could be at this height in your career right now. We were like, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if I have to wipe down jeans, leather bat suit at the end of every night, you know, to do it. We're going to do that fucking tour. Aerosmith and Kiss. Are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
So, yeah. So that's how that went. And we ended up getting it. Turns out Gene's teenage son at the time, I don't know if he was a fan of Saliva or just, you know, heard some buzz or whatever. But the story I was told is that he took that to Gene, and Gene ran it to us. You know, we okayed it, they okayed it. So the rest is history. But yeah, man, tell me, God, I still look back, and I have posters and stuff and memorabilia that's probably up in the freaking attic. It needs to be in a case. I got Paul Stanley's guitar, dude.
Wow,
you know,
awesome.
You know those guitars he breaks.
Yeah.
Those his personal guitars that he at the end of every concert he breaks into and throws out to the crowd. Yeah, there's a long waiting list for those. Let's just say that. I became good friends with the Paul Stanley's guitar tech, longtime guitar tech, Francis. God rest his soul. He just passed away in the COVID era. And but you know, back in when we were touring with him, you know, me and him kind of hit it off, and I kind of put a word in his ear. I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to not trying to put anybody out. I know there's a long waiting list for this shit, but if there's ever uh, just the slightest inkling of a chance to get one of those, or even half of one, I don't give a shit. Um, get one of those. Keep me in mind, you know, that don't forget about me. And he goes, okay, I'll see what I can do. And you know, years go by, and all of a sudden I get this box in the freaking mail, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know, and it's all like haphazardly taped, you know, uh, security or what do you call the airport people, whatever.
Right.
Um, they go all they've been all through it, you know, and just half-ass wrap it up. And I'm like, what is this monstrosity? I open it up, and it's like,
Oh,
he remembered. Oh my god! And it's a note from Francis, you know, saying, dude, I got you one. You know, here it is. It's for you. And I'm just like, oh my god, dude. And it was just such an amazing moment, you know. And I still have it. Um, and I know people have offered to buy it and all that.
no
Dude,
way.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got Paul Stanley's one of his guitars, you know. And meeting him and hanging out with him was always special. I've always had interactions with Paul Stanley for some reason throughout my life and career. You know, I've met him in the Peabody when I was 15, and a friend of ours, you know, Modern Immaturity. We were, like I said, we idolized, you know, Kiss and Motley Crue,
Right.
and they did a show, and we would always go to, as you might remember, the Peabody lobby to meet bands that were in town. Paul Stanley signing autographs outside the elevator, about trying to go up to his room. We go up there and get some stuff signed or whatever. And a friend of mine's brother asked Paul Stanley, he goes, you know, my brother and his buddies they have a little band called Modern Immaturity. If you could give them one piece of advice for them in their career and chasing their dream, what would it be? And Paul Stanley said, he goes, persistence, never give up. And I was, you know, like, cool, okay. That always stuck with me. And on that tour, me and we get off set, you know, and Paul Stanley would always watch, he'd stand on my side of the stage, mine and Josie's side, and he would always watch the first 3 songs. So would Steven Tyler. And sorry.
We're good. It happens.
Yeah, cool.
That's okay.
So sorry about that.
That's all right.
My earpiece fell out, and I guess it triggered.
It does. Yeah, it's happened with me with those earpods.
So, you know, so we get done with the set, and you know, Kiss is fixing. You know, they're back there making their getting their faces and everything on. They're getting prepared for their next set, because it was Saliva, Kiss, and then Aerosmith that night. And you know, it was one of the few nights where they actually gave us a green room, you know, to get ready and shower and all that crap. Usually we would just stay on the bus and do it from there. But I remember me and Paul were back there, and we were shedding, you know, getting out of our sweat. And you know, Kiss is walking down the hall outside of our room, and all of a sudden the door, I'm standing there in my boxers, right? And all of a sudden the door opens, and it's fucking Paul Stanley in full gear, makeup, everything. I mean, they're literally walking to the stage, and he goes, "Hey man, great set. You know, just want to thank y'all for being on the tour and everything." And it was just constantly running into him like that, man. And I said, Paul, and I told him about this. I said, when I was 15, I don't expect you to remember this. I'm not going to ask you if you do, like most people do. Hey, you remember me, dude?
Right.
It's like 20 years, you know, come on. I was like, dude, I met you when I was 15, Peabody, lobby. You said persistence, never give up. And I said, here I am. He goes, see, you listened, in his New York accent. He goes, see, kid, you listened. And then walked back to the stage. And I was like, dude, Fucking legend, man.
You know, the last album that you were involved with Saliva was released in 2004, Survival of the Sickest. The album produced, you know, Survival of the Sickest, Razor's Edge. You know, the title song, you know, was the theme song for, you know, talked about WWE for Unforgiven that year in 2004. What was that
Right.
last album and last tour like for you?
Man, have you seen the video for Survival of the Thickest?
It's been a while, but yeah.
It's got all the pyro and the
Mm-hmm.
flames and the sparks and all that shit. It
Yeah.
was like that. Yeah. Quick and easy. You know, every band is afforded that one album that doesn't do as great as the previous one.
Right.
I think that was our album. I had my hands full with a lot of business during that particular album. I didn't do a lot of writing for that album, and you know, that's my fault. That's my fault. Although there are people who love that album. You know, my son loves that album, and I'm not taking anything away from it. But you know, we all know that was, you know, the band. We all know that was the record that we kind of squeaked through, and you know, we were all dealing and battling with a lot of different issues and pulling punches and stuff like that. You know, used to we wouldn't pull any punches. Well, we were kind of pulling punches on this one, and you know, in some ways it shows. We were trying to go for. Jersey was really wanting to go for like a stripped down rock and roll, you know, kind of a raw, edgy type sound. And we got it, you know, kind of like ACD. It's kind of like we used ACDC as a model in a way. I wouldn't do that again, you know, personally. You know, hindsight, I wouldn't do that again. Saliva just needs to be Saliva.
Yeah.
And you know, but like I said, thank God every band is afforded that one album to get their shit back on track. Unfortunately for me, that was my last album. I left in 2005.
Right. You know, quote, Memphis, it's a place where music isn't just played, it's created. From the legacy comes Saliva. What does that quote mean to you?
Who made that quote?
I think Josie did.
Yeah. It's weird. I'm the only one who still lives here, in Shelby County. As you can see, I'm in suburbia.
Yeah.
I'm in fucking Collierville, but I'm still in Shelby County, bitches. So I'm still here. It means a lot because it's true, you know. Memphis is a rap town. I'll just be blunt. You know, it's like 90% African American. Some people will argue with me on that. I'm still sticking to 95%, whatever. But it's a hip hop town and it's a rap town, and that's good because you know our buddies in 3 6 Mafia and Lil White and Juicy J, DJ Paul, Gangsta Black, all these Crunchy Black, all these fools, man, really good people, man, really cool people. We're always treated their fans with utmost respect, and most of their fans are white, you know, and I've never ever seen Paul or Juice or Rick, Lord Infamous, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
And they've always treated their people with respect and kindness and just total gratitude. You know, I think they live in LA now, but I'm sure he still has a place out here. But you know, it's weird. It's like today we don't get no airplay here,
right?
You know, I do have people that come up to me and say, "Oh, I heard you know, I heard Always on such and such local radio station or whatever." But it's for being from here and what we've accomplished.
Yeah,
we don't really get any love, dude. It's it's amazing.
Yeah, I hear it
I'll
few and far
never.
between. Yeah, few and far between on local stations here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just and I'm not just talking about radio. You know, I have some of my good friends are program directors and DJs and stuff, and you know, whatever. I don't bother them with it, um, or nothing like that. But it is kind of strange. I think where Jesus quoted a prophet is never really, or you know, a celebrity or a prophet or something is they're never understood or never really wanted in their hometown. So I kind of go with that, you know. Um, I know we get way more love and attention elsewhere. I know
Right.
the fans here, that's a different story. You know, we have diehard fans here, uh, and all that, but the industry, no. And we, you know, we try to do a lot for charity. St. Jude, you know, we always did stuff for St. Jude. Always went out of our way to do that. Mike Glenn, Mikey Glenn, the original owner of the Daisy for all my career. Um, he's like a second father to me, and you know, I was playing that place when I was 15, 16 years old,
Right.
and he's always been there for me, and he's always supported anything I did and anything that Saliva did. As long as they treated me right, he would treat them right. If they didn't treat me right, he wouldn't treat them right, you know, because we're you know, it's family, man. We're thick as thieves in this M town, man. You can't, you know, you can't have it any other way. This is funky town, man. It's, you know, funky town bound.
Right.
This is where we are. This is where we're from. It's probably where we're gonna fucking die too.
You know, you recently lost your father-in-law, Robert. You said of him, quote, as gut-wrenching and catastrophically shocking as it is, there still came a moment of silver lining and light for me in the way of Robert's family photos they always kept on display, as he was absolutely head over heels for his children, Amy and James. And it's no secret they adored him as well. I
Yeah.
believe family is everything. Tell us a little bit about him.
Robert Chumney, he was a man of, you know how people throw around the term, oh, he give you the shirt off his back, you know. This guy really would, you know, and has and had, and I've seen it. Um, he would like if he's playing golf, right? And he goes up to a complete stranger, say it starts raining, the guy doesn't have a jacket, he would literally take off his jacket or run to his car and, you know, just give them golf clubs, give them whatever they need. He did that to everybody, and he was uh, he was a proud man. Not one for a handout at all. Um, Meticulous in his savings and his. He would eat canned chili for a year if it meant his son and daughter would have a bigger inheritance, and he did do that. You know, um, not knocking canned chili, but
Right.
I mean every day. Come on, you know. But he's that's how much his children were everything to him, and you know, he was married. And I think, you know, several years back, probably about 10 or more years ago, his wife left him, and I think that broke him. You know, I think that really broke him, and nothing and something just never was the same after that. But he had his kids, and he still spent as much time as he could with them. Loved Florida. You know, I'm from Pensacola, Florida originally. I've been in Tennessee since I was like 10 years old. My mother's still down there, and once a year I try to go see her, at least once a year. And if we vacation anywhere, that's where we go. Well, Robert's son has a couple condos down there now on the beach, and so it's a lot easier for us to go down there and stay, watch the Blue Angels practice. Me and my wife Amy, we got married there, right there on that beach, in 2003, and I've been together ever since. And you know, Robert loved Pensacola so much. He just loved Florida. He couldn't get enough of it. And we had just got back. We just spent a week down there, like maybe a week before he passed away. Um, he rode back with us, and I dropped him off at his house. I dropped my son and my wife off here at our house, and I said, "Hey, babe, I'll give him a ride home. He's just down the street." And I dropped him off, and that was the last time I ever saw him, alive. And yeah, it was shocking. He thought, 3 or 4 days went by, and he had some kind of stomach pain, and he thought he had just picked up a bug or something. And he was not the type of guy to go to the hospital. And if he did go to the hospital, he wasn't going to stick around for long.
Right.
And that's what happened. Her roommate forced him to go down the street, Baptist Collierville. And, they wanted to run some tests. He said, "No, I got a bug." They said, "Well, we want to run some more tests. We're on to something." He goes, "No, I'm not interested," and left. And 3 days later, he told us he was doing better, but he wasn't doing better. And 4 days later, he passed away. And turns out he was bleeding internally the whole time. Yeah. They said he had a GI, a gastro bleed, and he was bleeding to death the whole time. And it's as sad and as crappy as that is, reading he wrote journals. He was very meticulous and saving everything. He has every receipt from everything he's ever bought, purchased, returned, anything in his life, bank account, everything. But he was pretty meticulous when it comes to writing his daily journal and thoughts and stuff like that. And turns out that's the way he wanted to go. He didn't want to go into a nursery or a nursing home, or he didn't want to die in the hospital. He wanted to die. He wanted to go in his house, in his living room. He wasn't one for prolonging stuff. Turns out, excuse me, we didn't know that at the time. We really weren't aware of that. But turns out that's how he wanted to. That's how he wanted to do it. So at least there's that.
Yeah. Chris, I think you guys have a few cats, I believe, Bo and Teddy. Am I right?
Yeah.
It's apparent, from looking at your page, how much you guys love them. Tell us about Bo and Teddy.
Dude, awesome, man. Thanks. Bo is the white chinchilla Persian. He's the one with the green eyes. Sometimes they look like snake eyes. It's really cool. And he is the oldest. I went and I drove to, I think we had a cat before him, and he'd lived his life. He lived a good life. His name was Chase, and that was my wife's cat. And I'm like, I know what will relieve that heartache of losing Chase, because he had a long life of 19, 20 years, something like that. And yeah, that cat was around definitely and throughout all of Saliva and whatnot when I was with him. So she finds one from a dealer. She finds a cat she likes. It looks really a lot like Chase. It's a chinchilla Persian, and but I had to drive to Conway, Arkansas to pick it up, and it was like $600 or something like that. So I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go get it. And I went and picked it up, and there's this little bitty kitten in this little cat carrier, and he was good, he was quiet, and I drove him all the way back, and she was so happy and stoked. And first thing she sees when she looks in my car in the cat carrier, he's sitting there licking his feet, licking his back foot, and she's trying to look as cute as possible for her, and she just fell in love. And he's been there ever since. He's a really good cat. He's laid back. He's the one that'll crawl up in your lap and give you physical love and attention.
Right.
Now Teddy, he's the newest one. I think he's like a few years old. He is a rag doll. Our very first and only ragdoll. We'd always heard things about the ragdoll breed, and we'd never had one, so we made a point. I think he was like $600 too, which was cheap. Um, and he's just a special cat. He's my cat. Now, if I ever die or get kicked out or anything like that, he's gonna stay home. He's gonna be here. I ain't, he's my cat. But if I, get an apartment or something like that in the future or whatever, he ain't coming with me. So you
Right.
know what I mean.
Yeah.
He belongs to that house and to my wife and my son. But he knows who his daddy is, and he follows me around everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, he's right there, and it's taxing because he demands a lot of attention, uh, and it's easy to give it to him. But he has these stunning blue eyes, these crystal blue eyes. Um, his markings are really cool, kind of unique, typical for a rag doll, but he has some unique markings. Like most rag dolls, they look like him, they have the same markings as him, but they don't have the little goatee that he has. He has a little goatee, and he's got these white socks on all the time, little white feet. He's super cool. He is a bad kitty. Like, yeah, he gets into shit, and he'll look at you. He's a smart ass. He's the epitome of a jerk cat,
Right.
but he's so cute and loving that you can't. It's not like you can scold him or anything. But he will. He'll if he's not getting enough attention, whatever. He'll jump up on the counter. He'll look you dead in the eye and knock something off the counter and say, "I dare you to come fucking mess with me." But so that's when you know he wants to play. So you just pick up his toy and throw it down the hall, and he'll chase it just like a dog.
Yeah, I have 3 miniature schnauzers, and I can tell you, there's nothing like the unconditional love of animals.
Yeah, I know, man. And we love all animals. I'm definitely an animal lover. We like dogs. We like llamas, alpacas, goats, chickens, all that, everything. We just love animals, but we we stick with cats because of strictly because of um, they're really self sufficient. Like if I have to go out of town for 4 days, I know I can set out multiple bowls or pans of water, or a fountain,
Right.
and bowls of food, and even cat litter pans. And I know that that they'll be fine.
Right.
They don't have to be walked, and I don't have to like check on them several times a day. I
Right.
can just stick a camera on them, and they're good to go. So that's mainly why we stick with cats for the most part, because we like to go out of town, and we don't like to worry about
I understand that.
you know just the house sitter going through my shit,
Right.
while they're supposed to be taking care of the pet. I don't know. So
You know,
yeah, there's that.
you talked about your son, I believe his name is Ryder. His dream was to become a pilot. And, he said he's going to the Air Force after a senior year of high school this year. And I believe, for 17 straight years on his birthday at 4:32 p.m. on November 17th, you and Amy have always given him a birthday kiss. I'm going to pause for just 1 second. Chris got cut off, so he will hopefully log right back in. So I apologize for the little break here.
Okay.
All right, I was just talking about your son Ryder. He's going to the Air Force after his senior year, and I said that every year on his birthday on November 17th at 4:32, you guys have always given him a kiss, you and Amy. He must be a pretty special kid. Tell us a little bit about Ryder.
Man, it's Amy that does that.
Okay.
Yeah. She, not only is she just a super special, as you can see, it's hot as balls where I'm at. So I went ahead and jumped in the car to get some AC going, man. Um, yeah, that's something that she's always done. That's when, obviously that was the minute he was born. And that's something that she, always wants to do, throughout his life. So he is, he's my only child. Um, he's got a heart of gold and the heart of a lion, um, at the same time. And he likes, he loves music. He loves music more than anything. And he was raised on rock and roll. He likes all types of music. He respects it. And he's just really good at what he does. And yeah, he does want to go into the Air Force next year after his senior year of high school. And he when he writes. I thought, first of all, I wanted to make it very clear to him that, if you're going to do music, and that's what you want to do, that's cool. We always said that to him. Um, but don't just be a player. Learn how to write a song, because if you don't, then you're always going to be, watching other people cash checks and whatnot. And so first things first, I taught him how to write a song, how to break it apart, how to put the pieces together, what the pieces are called, and stuff like that. So he took to that really, really quick, really good. And since he was like 2 or 3 years old, he's had a guitar in his hand, he's had drumsticks in his hand, and he's a natural drummer for one thing, and a natural guitar player. So now he all his songs, he writes like a song a day, 2 songs a day, and he records it. He plays all the instruments, um, does the recording himself, and that sounds really, really fantastic. And the shit's heavy too. Like he likes like Knock Loose and Code Orange, and all these underground, um, up and coming awesome bands, man. Just hardcore bands. Those guys are just freaking awesome. And he's a hard worker, and he works. He's always had a job. He's had several jobs actually. But we taught him the importance of being able to make your own money, and he's done that. He's stayed out of trouble. Um, and now he's always wanted to be a pilot also, taking him to many air shows. And being raised myself as a Navy a Navy child, or Navy brat, some would say. My dad being in retired Navy, he he's picked up on that. I've showed him all things military and planes and stuff like that. He's totally into it. And that's just something that he's grown up wanting to do. So he wanted to go into the Navy. Um, and most of the people in my family are Navy. But in high school last year, the Navy people, I don't know if they just didn't take him serious or what, but it was the Air Force that answered his call, without, you know, downing anybody or being negative or anything. It was the Air Force that took him seriously and said, okay, yeah, we got, we hear you. We hear you want in. Let's get you signed up. Let's get the ball rolling, and that's what they did. So Air Force.
That's awesome. What are the most important lessons that you've learned in your life?
Uh, Never have a broken air conditioner for one, which I don't. But if you do, get that sucker fixed. If you live where we live, Jesus. Um, Repeat that question again.
The most
It
important
helps.
lesson that you've learned in life.
Most important lesson that I've learned in life. Well, it's what's going on right now, how you feel right now. If it's good or bad, it's not going to, tomorrow is always a new day. It's not like if you're in the dumps, down in the dumps, and you just, nothing's going your way. You're sitting at a red light, that red light, it can't stay red forever. It's got to turn green or yellow or something. It's those bad times are not gonna, those feelings that anxiety, that frustration, it's not gonna last forever. So, just don't think that if you're going through some rough periods that no one cares, no one else is going through it with you, because that's not true. There's a lot of people going through the same stuff,
Right.
and you just have to go through it. You can't go over it. You can't go around it. You can't go under it. You just got to go through it. And always be forgiving of people. You know, forgiveness. When I say forgiveness, I don't mean you have to hang out with that person. Just because you forgive somebody doesn't mean you have to run and go to the club or continue hanging out with them and be best buds. Just forgive that person and move on. And there's no such thing as forgive and forget. Forgive, but you don't need to forget because you don't want to harp or hang on to stuff. But it's memories that make us that mold us and shape us into what kind of person we want to be in the future. And if we didn't have those memories, if we were forced to forget everything, we wouldn't learn any lessons from that.
Right.
So forgiveness is big, very, very big, and it's not easy to do all the time. Sometimes you don't think you'll ever be able to, but you got to work on it because it is worth it. I promise you that it's worth it.
I've been a fan of your music, back to the Blackbone days, and obviously of Saliva too. And I can tell you, you're really awesome. I enjoyed watching you guys, the videos and stuff like that. And it just was a lot of fun. The music still to this day, like, I'll put up videos sometimes of Saliva on Facebook and it's like, I can't believe this is 20 years ago. I mean, it seems like yesterday, but it's still,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, it's awesome. So, man, I really appreciate you coming on today. It's been a
Thank you.
great time talking to you.
Thank you.
And hope
Oh
to have
man,
you
it's
on
been
again
awesome.
sometime.
Thank you so much. We were supposed to do a 20-year anniversary thing, and we had it all planned and whatnot, and some things fell through. That when the COVID thing started, that just kind of put a big wet blanket on a lot of stuff. And I looked at Joseph and I'm like, dude, are we ever gonna do anything together again? And he goes, yeah, no, of course. This was before the talk of the Saliva 20-year
Right.
reunion thing. Because I just want to let my youngest, my baby daughters grow up a little bit. I'm like, sure, of course, obvious, awesome, of course, I support that. And then we talked to Wayne Swinney and we worked some stuff out or whatever. But it's life is strange. They're out there doing their thing. Wayne it's got Wayne and Paul, the two original members in there. He's got the guy from Shinedown playing bass and Bobby Amaru on vocals. Um, I've never met Bobby, and honestly, I'm not one to go back and listen to other stuff. Like once I left Saliva in '05, I wasn't that guy that goes on the internet and um, stalks all their shows or
Sure.
goes to see them live. When I was done, I was just, of course, there's things I miss. I miss the fans. I miss the passion. I miss playing on stage. And I miss recording and shooting videos. And I miss the camaraderie, the brotherhood. But at the end of the day, man, it's a business,
Yeah.
you know. And I know bands and band members, for any bands out there listening, you know, the word family and brother is thrown around a lot, used a lot. Oh, we're family. Ah, we're brothers. It's a business, okay? And you got to protect your ass, and you got to write as much as you can in order to get your name out there and to get, you know, your shit seen and paid for.
Right.
Because it's not a family. You're not brothers, you know. You're roommates. And although you're 10 or 12 fuckers, smelly fuckers, crammed in a tube, an aluminum tube with wheels on it, going down the highway, pulling a trailer or two, you're not a family. You know, you're not brothers. You're just comrades, working for the same end. So protect yourself. And you know, there is one thing I have seen of the Bobby kid, Bobby Amaru. One thing I've noticed about him, I've never heard him sing really. You know, not saying it's good or bad. I'm sure he's great, nice kid. I notice he spends time with fans, and that is fucking golden, man. He loves fans. He makes time for them. You know, he talks to them, signs stuff. That to me is big time. And I know Wayne and Paul and the other guys, you know, I know they do when they can, but it's very important for the singer, the tip of the spear, the face of the voice and the face of the band, to get out there with those fans and those record buyers or whatever, and talk to them and spend some time with them, some quality time. Otherwise, you know, you'll have 10 years tops, you know, and you'll just be a number, you know, that comes and goes.
Right.
But yeah, so God bless everybody. Thank you to everybody for having me here today. And thank you so much, Zellner. You are the man.
Appreciate that a lot. All right. Thanks again, Chris. Thank you.
Anytime. I'm here. You know how to find me.
All right. Thanks, brother.
All right. Later.
Later.